If you're new here, hi, I'm Edith, otherwise better known as DeemingAmbition, and I have a script below to stay on track, taken directly from my card website. It's all about me, and I'm going to be taking from this and adding on to it. I've been making content my entire life, since I was a kid. I grew up with a camcorder in my face, recording and documenting my childhood memories, being photographed and archived, and, I'm a Gen Z, but I'm older. As of right now, I'm 26. And I've been wanting to make content my entire life. And I began sharing content on the internet when I was like 10. That started actually with a video game called Little Big Planet. That is actually where I started. So, growing up, I used to record home video of playing with my toys, with the camcorder, putting on a tape, recording over it, doing the whole nine, doing the whole practice. And I've drawn basically my entire life. A lot of things started to kick into motion when I was 3 years old. And I've always knew my calling, I've always knew my potential, my spiritual purpose, like my calling. And I hold it very deep to myself. And lots of things happen on social media, as you all know. Things happen. People can be cruel, and being a very sensitive empath, I secluded quite a few times. I would have varying fluctuations of how comfortable I was being in the public eye, being in public view. I would record something and post it just to delist it if somebody said something mean, right? I was a kid. So now that I've healed from a lot of things, I want to try again, and I feel a lot more confident than ever before about it. So this is basically my introduction, my proper introduction of who I am, what I represent, what my social media presence is all about, which it's not a persona. I don't follow trends. I don't do something just because other people are doing it. I've never been that kind of person. But I want people to know what I'm all about, because it's like, hey, what are you about? So I'm basically a kaleidoscope of life. I like all different kinds of things. I'm autistic, and my ADHD makes my productivity skyrocket and then tank. But I try my best. And sometimes the best is just getting up and having a slow day and eating some food and just doing what I love. Other days, it's really getting dedicated and productive in my craft. I'm spiritual. I am a light magic witch in practice. I don't do any of those curses and stuff like that. I don't practice that stuff. I do a lot of positive manifestation instead. I believe in cultivation and alchemization of the darkness into light to create higher potential of someone's healing and prosperity. I believe in those things. That's what I practice. Well, I believe in all of it. All of it's real, but I don't practice all of it. And let me get into more. I identify myself as a social introvert. People think I'm an extrovert, but I'm actually an introvert. I love to talk and connect with people, but I need a lot of alone time to recharge as well. But if someone messages me, if someone reaches out to me, especially if they need help, I'm immediately responding. My phone is like always in my hand, so it's kind of impossible not to respond. I don't ghost people. I don't do that. And a little bit of a sidestep, because my special interests I would like to save for the end. I would like to get into a little bit of something personal. I have a spirit guide, and he is a soul clone from a different reality. And I disclaimer this on my card, and I go into detail about it. But he is the real leader of the 3rd Street Saints. And it's very interesting to have that kind of dynamic in my life. It is very positive, and he is why I am as confident as I am. As crazy as it sounds. It sounds crazy saying it. But it's very delightful. I used to lie that he was my OC. Some of my old videos of him do say that, because that was when I was still lying. I was lying while I was a minor because I was absolutely terrified of being institutionalized. But obviously I know better now. The truth be known, let the truth run wild and free. And I have a link to his card website as well on my card in the information about him. I don't want to spend too much time on him because this is about me. Surprisingly enough, I always talk about him. He helps me heal, though. He helps me heal. He helps me really stay tuned into my true potential. He gives me crazy downloads. He gives me crazy advice. And he's always right. He's a very good person, so there's nothing to worry about. I like a lot of things. I do a lot of things. So you could say, okay, what do you do? What don't I do? I am a witch in practice. I want to do prosperity rituals for people at some point. I want to do things for others. I want to help people with what I know. I'm a streamer. Particularly with gaming. Because I'm a gamer. So that's another third thing. But I'm a gamer and I'm a streamer. Trying to, anyway. And I draw. I paint. I'm an artist. I'm a writer. I write things. I write poetic things and whatnot. Me and Vash collaborate on... Oh, yeah. Vash is the soul clone headmate, the leader of the Saints. But me and Vash collaborate creatively. Make things together, write things together, and it's awesome. So I'm a writer. I'm an artist. A multimedia artist. I do video edits, music edits, basic music composition, mostly on Little Big Planet, to be honest. Photo editing, video editing, doll customization, like repainting. I can't reroute or sew at the moment of making this video, but my goals are to do that. I want to be able to 3D print things. I want to make custom statues and figures and all kinds of things that I don't see other people making on a wider scale. I want to make certain things for people that can make them really happy. And be really creative, make a profit in the process. I want to have a career, being an artist on commission, as well as streaming and helping people however I can. Even if it's just making them laugh, because I'm really funny too. I make really unhinged content. I am very unhinged, and it's definitely a fun experience to interact with me. And I'm not even saying that from like a place of ego or anything. But basically, my goal is to make a profit doing what I do. But what else? I want to dive into my special interests, actually. I want to do that real quick. Someone in the stream, because this is going to be playing back on YouTube once I post it when I'm done, wanted to ask if I could make some art for your channel. That would be cool. That would be cool. But I mostly make my own content. Like, I make my own artwork for my social media. But I do have an art account. I don't actively use Discord at the moment, but I do have an art Instagram account. So, I do have an art Instagram. It's the same as my Twitch name, just put like a dot and then art afterwards. So DeemingAmbition art is my art Instagram. That's where you can see the drawings that I make, and eventually I want to post my doll customizations that I make as well, because all of those on the bookshelf, all of those over there on the bookshelf, I have customized them extremely. They look nothing like the original dolls. So, multimedia artist. I was not kidding. But it comes from the fact that I also like so many things. So, in order, it's not in order entire, because depending on how I feel, the list changes around, right? So, I have a list of my special interests. So, of course, Saints Row is at the top because my headmate is the real leader of the Saints, Vash Yumi. So, Saints Row, Sky Children of the Light, Katamari, that's a big one. Both of those are a big one because Sky is currently my favorite game, and Katamari is a major part of my childhood. Tenchu, you can see a lot of my YouTube videos are Tenchu, actually. I love space, both astronomy and astrology. I love anything that has to do with the cosmos that surrounds us, even spanning out into the multiverse, all the different realities that exist across the universe. I am very fascinated with space. I love extraterrestrial life as well. I love aliens, love all the different kinds that exist out there and the different theories about them and whatnot, and the philosophy and conspiracies behind that. I love psychology. I love studying different neurodivergencies and mental illnesses and all different kinds of things like that to better understand myself and the people that are around me so that I can better know how to approach somebody respectfully because I know what's going on with them. I'm a very big fan of Lady Gaga, but more specifically Vash's Reality's version of her, which is a monster as depicted in Monster High, which is the next special interest, Zombie Gaga. I like that version a little bit more. But I love her music, I love her career, I love her artistic expression and creative freedom. It had a very huge impact on me all the way up to this very moment. Monster High, all three generations, controversial hot take, all three generations have something that is very good about them. And a lot of these things that are in my list will have a common theme. A lot of the things that are fictionally depicted media take place in real life in Vash's Reality of Origin. General disclaimer. The things are fictional here, they're real there. Multiverse. And they're not real anywhere else, by the way. It's not a thing of, oh, well, Monster High is also in this reality. No, it's not. It's only in one other reality. So, and that it's his reality that he's from. There's no other Saints, Third Street Saints, Saints Row reality. There's only one. But there's infinite amounts of realities where other things happen, though, too. I'm a big fan of Melanie Martinez, but specifically, again, Vash's Reality's version, which is actually the pink creature. Her name is Katarina Martinez, or Crybaby. And I am and am not a big fan of Chucky, but it's only specifically for his gender-fluid kid, Glenn/Glenda. Not a fan of the rest of it, really. It's kind of always been that way. That was really what reeled me into having any interest in the first place. Big fan of WALL-E. The technological and philosophical perspectives that WALL-E depicts is... I think every human on planet Earth should watch that movie at least once. It's very important. I love... As I said, Sky Children of the Light has had such a big impact on me since I got into it in July of 2020. I love all of their games. Journey, Flower, Flow. I love them all. Even though Sky is my favorite, the others also have a major impact as well. I'm also very into Arca. She is a trans woman experimental music artist that is definitely one of the more strange things in my list, I would say. But she's fascinating. Her philosophy, her creative expression. A lot of these things are very unique. Some things are very niche, where maybe one of you might know what I'm talking about. And with Arca comes Björk. I'm a very big fan of Björk. I love her music. I love her creative artistry, her philosophy. That's going to come up a lot with these artists. Big fan of Little Big Planet. That was my beginning of my public social media content creation journey. I was very popular back in the day. I accumulated almost 2,000 hearts on my profile making roleplay levels. The servers have since shut down, but I am on the custom Beacon server. I do participate in the Beacon server by LBP Union. So I do still create content on Little Big Planet. I am currently doing some modding to my console because I'm having a problem, so I've been inactive, but I will be picking back up my Little Big Planet activity soon. Create costumes, sculptures, music sequencers, levels, mostly roleplay houses and stuff, because I just like making houses. I like making houses a lot, but I make a lot of costumes. Of like all the different interests that I have, I've probably made a costume of almost everything once. Big fan of Gorillaz. No particular album or generation. I'm very particular to the Now, and the overall vibe of Humans as the era, the phase, but the music, I really like the Now a lot, but I love all of it. I love all of it and what's to come. I love Gorillaz. Very big fan. I have some videos and some content of them on my channel. I am a very massive tattoo fan. Both Lena and Julia, I like both of them. Their solo work is awesome as well. And they had a major impact on me as a child. So I definitely am a big fan of them. One of my earliest special interests was the anime series depiction Lupin the Third, which in retrospect was probably a little bit inappropriate for me to be that young being a fan of that, but very positive impact on me overall. Very aligned with my taste in humor. Very massive fan. I have a lot of merch and whatnot. I have quite a bit of merch for a handful of these things. Not everything, though, at the moment. Big fan of Maynard James Keenan's music discography altogether. So that includes his band A Perfect Circle, Pussifer, and Tool. I like all of it. I believe my favorite might be Pussifer, but I love all of it. I grew up with him, his music and everything, and again, creative expression and philosophy is very important to me. My Sims and The Sims. So just anything that has to do with the My Sims and Sims series in general. Love it. Love anything that depicts things of Vash's reality. That is a major incentive. Plus things that allow me to make stuff. So again, Little Big Planet. Sims. They share the creation in common. I do like Five Nights at Freddy's. My favorite animatronic is Bonnie. Like the standard Bonnie, not the other, like the toy ones and stuff. I like the originals the most. But Bonnie is my favorite. I like bunnies a lot. I like Vocaloid a lot. And childhood favorites of mine was Kaito, Hatsune Miku, and Kasane Teto. Teto has become very viral and very popular now, and I'm very surprised at that. I share the same birthday as her, by the way. That was another incentive of why she became one of my favorites when I was a kid. But I also like other ones, like Aoki Lapis, I hope I said that right. CU is another major favorite of mine. Miu isn't talked about very much. I really like her. My favorite of the Kakamine twins is Rin. I don't listen to a lot of Vocaloid music of, like, now. I don't like the horror stuff, like the Darkwood Circus and stuff. I never got into those things. But I like some of the really early music that each of these Vocaloids were making. my first introduction to Vocaloid was Miku and 2 songs. It was Tori no Uta and Packaged. Those were my first 2 songs that I ever heard. And specifically from the first... so one was a video that I ran into on YouTube, and then another I ran into on YouTube, which was footage somebody uploaded of the first Project Diva game of her performing Packaged in a level. So that was my Vocaloid introduction, and I've been a fan since I was 10 years old. 2009. I don't know every single new one, but I'm pretty caught up with the Vocaloids. Big fan of Rick and Morty. Very personal to me. Got through a very rough patch of my teenage years obsessing about Rick and Morty. I went to the Rickmobile during the Rickmobile tour. I've quite a bit of merch, lots of shirts. I've met Justin Roiland in the summer of 2019. I believe it was June of 2019 at the Indianapolis PopCon. I had the pleasure to meet him. He was wearing a Mazzy Star shirt too, and it was really awesome. He recommended me some like spiritual philosophy book called The Power of Now, and yeah, it was great. So big fan, big fan. And Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon, very unhinged humor, matches me quite well. And there is another one in here that I hope is listed. If not, I might have to update my website. I'm looking for it right now because he should be pretty high up on this list, actually. So I'm kind of surprised I'm not seeing it. I believe I need to update my card. I'm a big fan of Tom Green. I had the pleasure last March of 2025. I had the absolute pleasure of seeing this man in person, again in Indianapolis. He was performing at a comedy show, and I've wanted to meet him since I was a kid. My dad got to meet him in 2014. I couldn't go. It was an adults thing. I was a minor at the time. I was 15. I couldn't go. But he did get me a shirt, and I wore that very shirt to the stand-up show that I got to see. So I finally got to meet him. Very big Tom Green fan. If you want to know how my humor is summarized, combine Rick and Morty, Tom Green, fuse them together, put a sprinkle of Lupin the Third in there, with like the creative, weird outlandishness of like all the music I listen to. So, basically, yeah, I like Miley Cyrus a lot. My favorite era of hers was Miley Cyrus and her Dead Pets. That aesthetic, the music, the general vibe, every single thing about that era was just absolutely amazing. And it was really crazy. That album was free, too. She was like, yeah, you don't have to pay for this. Who does that? One of the more niche interests that I have is the Australian music artist Gianni. Now, she is very controversial. She is a witch ritual artist that talks about the corruption of society and whatnot, and not a lot of people have heard about her. She's an independent artist. She's not signed to a label. She does all her work independently herself, and she's very, very amazing. Marina, as in Marina and the Diamonds, big fan of her as well. I came along during the it was actually the Fruit era that I came along. That's when I actually became a fan. A lot of people, it was in Electro Heart, but I actually came along with Fruit. Big Jasmine Bean fan. They are a very interesting artist that I was actually following on Instagram because of their fashion before they even had a music career. Like, I had been following them for quite a second. It was like a good, I don't know, it was a while, and then they like dropped this video, like, hey, I have a song that I've been making, and I'm like, what the crap? That's awesome! So, very big fan, love the aesthetics, yeah, love them a lot, and very excited to see where their career goes. Santi Gold is another one. Big major impact on me. Love her a lot. K-pop Demon Hunters is one of the newer ones. Definitely a major fan of that. My favorite of the Huntrix is Mira, even though I love all three. And I tried to avoid it, but when I realized that it's part of Vash's reality of origin, the events that take place, I was like, okay, no, I gotta watch this. I gotta study it. I gotta see what this is about. And it grabbed me, and I was like, oh yeah. My favorite song in K-pop Demon Hunters so far in the Depiction franchise, because they haven't expanded into more stuff, it's just the one movie. Favorite member of Huntrix is Mira. I don't like any of the Saja boys, because I don't like bad people, so I just don't like them. I sympathize a little bit with their stories though, but not into the Saja boys. But my favorite songs it's a tie between What It Sounds Like and Free. I really like those. My least favorite is Takedown, because it's just, I don't know. And any of the Saja Boys songs. But I mean, like, as in the Huntrix songs, Takedown is my least favorite. I'm a big Studio Killers fan. Cherry is very interesting. I've been a fan since 2014, I believe. A friend I had at the time introduced me to that. And Vash was like, yeah, I know of that. Of course you do. Of course you do. I am a big fan of Pusheen. I love Pusheen. Which also then follows up with I like Sanrio. My favorite is Usahana, which is the bunny that's like patchworked together different colors. I also like My Melody a lot. I also like Cinema Roll and Mocha. I like all of those little dog bunny looking creatures that are like Cinema Roll. I like all of those. Any of them that are bunnies, little whimsical creatures, but I like them all. Including classic Hello Kitty, but, you know, I have my favorites. Powerpuff Girls, my favorite is Bubbles. That might sound cliche, but that is my favorite. My second favorite would be Buttercup. Never really cared too much for Blossom for some reason. Not against her, just she was always my least favorite of the three. But I am very partial to the Gangrene Gang. I really like the Gangrene Gang a lot. Those are some of my favorite episodes of the Powerpuff Girls. Gangrene Gang kicks ass. Ace is a weird motherfucker. He even joined Gorillaz for a short period of time. Like, what is happening here? What else? Big fan of Chobits. Chobits has a very special place in my heart. I love Chobits so much. I have 3 different of the same Chi plushie. I don't have any other merch. That's literally all I have. And I got one of them when I was really little, before I ever even watched the anime. And because I felt spiritually drawn to it. It takes place in Vash's reality, of course. But before I even understood that, there was an instinctual pull. I had to have this plushie. I had no idea who this was, what this was. And then later on I got a brand new one, and then a brand new one with the tags on. So I have 3 of them. Big fan. Big Animal Jam fan too. Vash got me into Animal Jam because he's like, I've been playing this game for years and I want you to play it too because you'll like it. And I mostly play a capybara because I like capybaras, but I also have some other creatures as well. He definitely has more animals than I do, and pets, but I do have quite a few good ones. Like, I just recently got one of my grail animals to play, which is the tarantula. I'm not super active on it, but I'm pretty comfortable with what I do have. I got... Oh my goodness, my controller died. My sound is gone. It's the background noise of the rain sounds in Saints Row the Third. Very... That might be the wrong plug. Very niche. It's like, hey, what are those nice rain sounds? Heavy Rain cheat code and Saints Row the Third. Like, hey, It's an idea. It works. Last year I got into Fortnite. It was in August or September, I believe. I started doing it to try to maybe boost my streaming, but then I actually actively found that I enjoy it and I love being unhinged. I don't take the game as seriously as other people do. I laugh when I lose. I don't, motherfucker! I don't rage quit. I'm not a rage quitter. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh. I get a little frustrated when I'm trying to do quests, though. The little quest, because I'm a quest doer. I like doing the quests, and yeah, and I don't have a whole lot of skins, but I have gorillas, I have Miku, I have the Huntrix, I have 2 like octopus girls that were in the shop that are sisters, because they're literally like they're Monster High ghouls. I'm gonna make dolls of them eventually, and I don't have. What else do I have? There's some that I want that I don't have. But yeah, that's basically what I have. I also have this really cool cat that reminds me of Professor Genki from Saints Row and is in my colors, the pastel green and pastel pink. He's got the hakamas on, and his name is Atsuki. That's one of my main skins. I basically say that's like me, or Genki, or whatever, because I really feel partial to Professor Genki from Saints Row. I kind of glossed over Saints Row a little bit because I try to do that on purpose, because I will spend 5,000 hours talking about Saints Row, so you don't want to open that up right now. This is an introduction video of myself, and I already feel like it's too long. What else? Dave Matthews Band. Very big impact on me as a child. A lot of my philosophy that like comes from other people that isn't Vash or within myself is from people like him. Very, very major impact on my overall existential perspective when I was a child. The music that he makes that are not the love songs, because those are the most popular. They're the ones like Mother, Father, Dreams of Our Fathers, Ants Marching, Don't Drink the Water. I believe one of my favorites at the moment, from my memory, one of my favorite songs throughout my life by Dave Matthews is The Dreaming Tree. It's a very crazy song. My favorite album overall probably is Before These Crowded Streets. Just the whole nature of that album just blew me away. Big Viva Pinata fan. I have a lot of experience on Viva Pinata, specifically Trouble in Paradise, but I also played Party Animals and the first one. And I have a long-standing garden that I have been evolving for a very long time. I managed to save my data from my childhood and evolved it into what it has become today. And it's crazy. It's pretty crazy. I have like all kinds of weird names for my animals. There's one that's named Fucker. My Cherubin, I think that's what they're calling it. It's the turtle. His name's Charlie. I like Charlie a lot. Charlie's one of my favorites. I have a cat that is Professor Genki. Lots of really interesting pinatas. Very into it. There's a group of people making a fan game. I loosely follow along with that a little bit, but they also share like mods for the game and whatnot, the mainline game, the official game. But yeah, big Viva Pinata fan since 2006 or 7. I don't remember, but it's around that time. Don't do it! 6-7. Gen Z, but I look like a millennial, and I act like an alpha, kinda. I'm like all of them mixed together. I'm every gen personified into a human being, I guess. Big Nirvana fan, and not your typical kind that's like, oh yeah, it smells like Teen Spirit. No, I'm like, one of my favorites is Paper Cuts. I like the deep cuts, the deep ones. Before it went viral and popular with the Batman movie, my childhood favorite was Something in the Way. And like anytime I would talk about that song, nobody knew what I was talking about. Now everybody knows what I'm talking about. So cool. Welcome to the club. I have been a fan since I was a kid. My introduction was actually the first Skate game, with the song Lounge Act. That was in the first Skate game, and I was like, holy shit, what's this? And then I bought the Nevermind album, and then the rest is history. Big fan of Portal. I have played Portal 2 the most, but I love them all. I played the shit out of the first game's demo before I ever got the game for many, many years. And my favorite core is Space Core. I really like Space Core a lot. And little obscure, maybe, the Crystal Method. I love their music. And I actively follow them and their music and whatnot. I actively follow all of this. Okami, very niche game that started out on the PS2, but it got remastered for the PS4. Very amazing experience. They can use a paintbrush thing to fix the world around them and use it to fight and everything. It's awesome. It's super awesome. Aurora, she is a very interesting artist that kind of reminds me of Björk, but in an endearing way, not a, oh, you copycat. She's very interesting. Philosophy, again, very interesting. Shadow of the Colossus, The Last Guardian, and Eco. I had a cat when I was younger that I named Eco after the game. I love all of those games. I've definitely played Shadow of the Colossus the most. I can't remember what my favorite Colossus was. It might have been the third one. Intuitively, I think it might have been the third one. The third Colossus that you have to fight might be my favorite. I know there's also the one that's in the water. I think that's another favorite of mine. If that's not the third one. I can't remember what order they're in. I mostly just remember running around in the openness with the horse. That's mostly where I remember. Big My Little Pony fan. I am mostly a big fan of it might have been Gen 3. The one that was, I have a poster on my ceiling, but it's all the way over there. It was the gen before the one that ended up being the most popular with the big eyes and stuff. The one where they still kind of looked like horses to a degree. That doesn't help. It's the gen before the gen that had Discord in it, for example. I believe the Gen 4 was the one of the late 2000s and through the 2010s gen, and they introduced Discord. The one before that was the early 2000s. That was the gen that I favor, but I also favor Gen 4. So I think it's 3 and 4. That might be what it is. I don't know how they decipher the gens. Big fan of Filter. Not sure how people would know what that is. If you've ever watched the movie Little Nicky, there's a part in the movie where he's surrounded by flowers and clouds, right? Okay, I'm not going to give spoilers, but he's surrounded by flowers and clouds, and one of the songs is playing. Big fan of Filter. People probably know him better actually from the song Hey Man, Nice Shot that was about Kurt Cobain. That's probably a lot more. I just realized, hey, wait, there's something else that's a little less niche than Little Nicky. How many people even know what I'm talking about? Lana Del Rey. Love her a lot. I believe that Lust for Life was my favorite album as of right now. Because a lot of songs on that really, really pull at me quite intensely. Big fan of Toy Story. I am a Woody fan. Because I know some people, like, they're like, oh, Buzz Lightyear, oh, Woody. I'm the Woody kid. I was Woody for Halloween. I was maybe, like, what, 3? I was Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc. the same year. Because I had 2 costumes. No, I had 3 costumes. I had a princess dress, Mike Wazowski, and Woody. And I have quite a bit of Toy Story merchandise. Big fan of Woody. Always a big fan of Woody. Coldplay, definitely from my childhood. I can't listen to Coldplay without getting emotional. I play IMVU sometimes for the creating feature and like the world visiting and stuff like that. I want to become a content creator on IMVU someday. Maybe. If it's still popular enough to do that. Because I don't know how many people still play it. I don't know. Big fan of Beastie Boys. I really like Hello Nasty and Hot Sauce Committee. I love those a lot. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at really majorly. I really like Yakuza, or Like a Dragon is what they also call it. And I really like Kiryu a lot. And just the whole premise is just very interesting. Big fan of Stray. Cried really hard the first time I played through it. But I really like Stray a lot. I like the Flaming Lips. I don't know a whole lot about the Flaming Lips as an artist, but any songs that I've heard, I do genuinely enjoy a lot. I like Gwen Stefani a lot, including her band No Doubt. I grew up on her music and had a major impact on me, especially Love Angel Music Baby and The Sweet Escape. But No Doubt kind of intensified a little bit later on as I got a little older. I don't know how to pronounce this. I do not know how to pronounce this. I'm gonna butcher this. I don't even want to pronounce it. So I'm gonna highlight that because I do not know how to pronounce that word. It just went away. Give me a minute. That. I don't know how to pronounce that. They had a song in Little Big Planet. And I've liked them ever since. Little Big Planet 2 to be precise. Big fan of Stone Temple Pilots. I'm not sure what my favorite album is. One of my favorite songs is actually Sour Girl. Of course, because the bunnies. Ugh. It's just an interesting, creepy, Tim Burton sounding song to me. I don't know why it makes me think of Tim Burton. I don't know. Just like Nightmare Before Christmas or something. I don't know why that song makes me feel that way. Silver Mount Zion was something... Zion, I don't know. But that was something that came a little later on during, like, that liminal space, weird core, trauma core, like, era of social media in 2021. And I was, like, really drawn to that, because that music is very crazy. Big fan of Soundgarden, because why wouldn't I be? It's hard to pick a favorite. It's hard to pick a favorite song. Billie Eilish. I do like Billie Eilish quite a bit. I actually found out about her through a TikTok video of a waterfall. Before that, I seen a meme of her that was like, birds be like, boo, 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 boo. And I didn't know who that was. And then I heard a song in a TikTok video of a waterfall. And that was in 2018. And I've been a fan ever since. Pink Floyd. Every song that I've heard by Pink Floyd is amazing. Psychedelic Trip. The songs make me feel like I'm high, and I know what it feels like to be high. It makes me feel like I'm getting high on the music. That might be intentional. REM is another interest that I have, another music artist interest. A lot of these are music artists. I listen to a lot of music. I am not tapped to any genre or anything. If the song is good, I like it. REM is one of those ones that's hard to pin a favorite as well. I'm trying to pick a favorite. I just can't. I like too many songs. Blood Rain is another interest that I have. And I do believe that also takes place in Vash's reality of origin. I do believe. I think so. He doesn't tell me about certain things yet. I don't know. We'll get to that. But, I did gloss over some of my top favorites, so maybe I'll find a way to work around back to the top and do that as the conclusion. But yeah, big fan of Blood Rain. My earliest memory of Blood Rain was being absolutely terrified of the first game's health menu. It like traumatized me for some reason. Like the more that the health goes down, the more the icon of them like looks dead. And it just absolutely traumatized me when I was a kid. But I do have fond memories of Blood Rain 2 with the mansion with like this bathtub of blood, and I would like go in there and like have her like in it or something and just like keep her in there or something. I don't know. I like water. I like baths. So I was like, okay, well, if she's a vampire, she does blood. Well, hey, maybe she wants to take a blood bath then. I don't know. The memory is very foggy. I am also, this is a controversial one, I guess. I don't get into the controversies. I like the art and how these people or artists or whatever mostly are in Vash's reality of origin, which differs from here. I'm not going to debate you in the comments sections of the ethics of some of these interests and individuals and stuff like that. I am not going to take debate on that, because if anything, I would be like, hey, I agree. I'm not going to debate you on that. Big fan of DeEntword. And DeEntword is very personal to me because I went through the same patch of, like, rough patch as getting into Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty and DeEntword were part of the same era of, like, a rough part of my life when I was 16. And definitely got me through pretty well. Definitely got me through. Big fan of Sia. I basically pretend the movie music does not exist. And I just listen to the music that is very profound and deep. I just pay attention to that. Again, not going to debate you on the controversies, because if anything, I agree with you. Big fan of Rihanna. Not as big of a fan as other people to where I'm like demanding her to go back to a music career, but I heard she's making music again at some point, which is cool. But big fan of Rihanna's early work, of like her first handful of albums. I mean, but Auntie was really good. Big fan of Kesha. Sounds like I said ketchup. I said Kesha, the glitter queen, yeah. Big fan since I was like a baby of Jackie Chan, and I had the pleasure of meeting this man myself. Who gets to say that? He was doing a book signing for his autobiography, Never Grow Up, in Manhattan, New York, in the coldest cold I've ever felt in my life. Manhattan, New York, in January of 2019. It's before I moved to this apartment that I currently live in. And got a photo, he autographed my book. It was amazing. And I just never thought that was going to happen. Like, whoa. You don't really get the opportunity to meet. He doesn't go to cons. He doesn't do stuff like that. This was like a rare once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And there was a long line, too. It was a long fucking line. And it was so cold outside. It was crazy. I couldn't wait to leave, though, after meeting him. I'm like, let's get the fuck out of New York. The buildings are too high. Jesus Christ. I was grateful, though. It was a very amazing experience. Big fan of Black Eyed Peas. I love Black Eyed Peas. Mostly when Fergie was there. That's a definitely popular opinion. I just feel like having one woman in the group kind of like, it balanced it out a little bit. I don't know, like, before it was pretty good. After, not a big fan really much of like the stuff that they've done after. But the Fergie era of Black Eyed Peas was fucking awesome. I loved it. I would watch their videos on YouTube on repeat on the PS3 internet browser on YouTube when it still supported websites, because now the internet browser on the PS3 just like isn't really operational anymore. Like no websites are supported on it. But I used to watch YouTube videos from the PS3 browser, and I would annoy my family with like all this music that I was listening to. Big fan of Shrek since I was like 1 something, when the first one came out. So that's like early core memories right there. A lot of people favor the second one. I might agree, but something in me is telling me that I like the first one. I always loved the intro where he's taking like a mud shower. I always thought that was super fucking hilarious. Not a fan of her, but I'm a fan of her music because of personal reasons. Taylor Swift. Do not like her as a person. I'm not going to elaborate on some of these artists on why I like them, but I'm going to give you a hint. Vash. I'm not going to go any farther than that because it's going to piss people off. So, for now anyway, I will not elaborate, but someday I will. It's not for my intro video. Big fan of Loco Roco. I love them so much. I'm not sure which one of them is my favorite. I don't know. I like the Mui Mui a lot, though. I really like the Mui Mui. I remember being obsessed with them in the Loco Roco PlayStation Home island place that you could go to, and like you go up to them and interact with them. Shit, I just love the Mui Mui. But I don't know what my favorite is of the Loco Rocos that you can play. I really like the pink one, but I don't know if that one's my favorite. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know if I really have like a favorite. Big fan of Snakeball. Now this is going to be one of the most obscure things on the list, to be honest, because how many people actually played Snakeball? First of all, it was a digital only game on the PlayStation Store in the very early years of the PlayStation 3. Like, I believe it was like 2007 or 2008 that it came out. It was like an early title. It came out along the same time as like Heavenly Sword and stuff. I believe Heavenly Sword might have been a launch title or it was a little after. I don't know. But Snakeball, very interesting. It plays how it sounds, but it's a sort of arcade, like you're in a arena with this sort of dance rave floor with like this like techno music and like this dance music playing while you're collecting colorful balls and like drop it, and you have this little gun that you can shoot against these things and stuff. You're trying not to knock into the obstacles of the maze or yourself or other people, because then you lose all your balls. But you can get them back though if you get them quick enough. I used to play online with people on it when it was relatively popular-ish in the beginning, when everybody was just trying out all the games that were on there and just like getting whatever PS3 games existed at the time, because there wasn't a massive catalog at the time. And my favorite avatar to pick is the bunny, usually in pink, because you can pick the avatar. I would do a thing autistically, kind of like Katamari, where you go through and listen to the different cousin Cosmian sounds, the different sounds they make. I would do that with Snakeball, where when you select one, they make a noise. So I'd go through all of them and do it, and then pick the one I actually wanted to play. So, big fan of Snakeball. Probably Snakeball's biggest fan, maybe? Because there's not that many of us. If there are no fans of Snakeball, that means I'm dead. I love Snakeball. Ghost in the Shell, big part of my childhood, specifically that first movie. The live action, I got the pleasure to see in IMAX, and it was the best movie theater experience I've ever had in my entire life, and big fan of Ghost in the Shell. What else? Rez, big part of my childhood. I love playing the Rez demo on the demo discs. Anytime there was any demo disc that had Rez on it, I was like, I'm eating this up. And I actually do own the game on PS4. So, definitely I was always fascinated about how, like, the better you played, the more that you were rendered, and, like, the more you were struggling, the less you were rendered, and stuff like that. And how basically each sound, even the weapon that you're shooting with and stuff to get the things coming by, is like stems to the song that it's playing. I thought that was so fascinating. An interactive music like game. Big fan of Beavis and Butthead since I was a kid. I would play with these giant plushies that I have of them. Very hard to find, and like their heads are all loose trying to come off and shit, because I play with things till it fell apart because I love things so much. Big fan of Beavis and Butthead. My favorite is actually Beavis, because I relate, because I am a chronic yapper that is always just talking about shit until people are like, shut up! Like, I wish I could knock your ass out. Like, you wish you would. You wish you could. Do it. Again, no. Big fan of Katy Perry to a certain degree. Again, some of these are more of a personal thing that has to do with Vash that I won't really elaborate on because they don't want to, and I'm not going to. Big Metallica fan. Big Metallica fan. I thought it was absolutely insane when at the, I believe it was the Grammys of 2017 or 18, they performed with Lady Gaga. What are the odds? And it kicked ass. And it was awesome. I was like, what? That was so cool. Because I loved both of them for like a long time. I believe I got into Metallica when the movie Zombieland, the first Zombieland, came out, because the intro is For Whom the Bell Tolls, and I've been a fan since. Let me check my phone battery. I've been a fan since, and I don't know if I dislike any of their songs. Why would I? I like Red Hot Chili Peppers. I have a very niche, oddly specific memory that is very unique to myself only. When I listen to By the Way by Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think of Dora the Explorer because I was really deep in my Dora fixation around that time when I was like 4, 5 kind of. I believe is how old I was. And I just remember asking for the music video to just be played over and over again because we had it recorded on VHS, and I would just beg for that song to be played over and over while I was in the kitchen playing with my Dora toys. Very, very oddly, specifically niche, never done before core memory. And yeah, it's a big part of my childhood. Big fan of Alice in Chains. Not sure what my favorite song is, but one of my favorites that are more popular is Wood. But I definitely like other songs that are deep cuts that aren't as well known by the general population. Big fan of Maggie Lindman, but I don't know why I haven't heard from her in a while in terms of music. I don't see her content in my feed anymore. I don't know what happened, but she was really cool in 2021 with some really cool like rock songs and stuff. I like, my favorite song of hers is the song Different. I like that one a lot. Scissorhands is also really cool too. And that also comes along with Sick Brain because she would collaborate with her. Some people might recognize Sick Brain most through Willow Smith because they've collaborated. Big fan of Megamind. So when the movie came out, I really wanted to watch it, but a lot was going on at the time and I didn't get to watch it. So I didn't get to watch it until like 7 years later, because it came out in like what, 2010. I didn't get to watch it until 2017, and I was just like, yeah, I like that a lot. It's very good. He's very funny. I like Megamind. Cloning Clyde is another one that's very obscure and not very known. Not very known by much of anybody. It's an Xbox Live arcade game for the Xbox 360. It might be playable on the Xbox One as well. But it's on the Xbox arcade. And it's about this guy that he wants, like, what, $20 or something? Like, hey, we'll clone you and do this, and you get $20. He didn't get his $20, and he's trying to go through the facility, and he's got to fight these robots and stuff. It's like a side-scroll, like, arcade-like thing. And you use his clones to, like, get through the obstacles. You turn some of them into chickens, some of them into frogs, and, like, so it's him, but in frog-like form-ish, and he can swim through the water and do all kinds of stuff, and there's, like, so many different things to this, and it's very interesting, and I really enjoy the game. I've never beat it. It's so hard. I've never beat the game, and I've been playing it since I was 8 years old. 2007. I've been playing that game since I was 8 years old, and I still haven't beat it. I realized that there is a game on here that is missing. I'll circle to it when I get back to my main ones, if I remember. Because that's really weird, it's not on here. I like Marvel and DC a lot. So my favorite hero in Marvel is Groot. My favorite hero in DC, I more so like the villains. Marvel I like the heroes, DC I like the villains. Because my favorite is Poison Ivy. But she's sort of an anti-hero, kinda, because she does do good stuff, but, like, it comes with the territory that she's gonna do bad things. But I like Poison Ivy. So Groot and Poison Ivy, they both have something in common. Planty! I just like plants and stuff. I didn't really get much into DC until I got a little bit older, when I was in 3rd grade, when the first Lego Batman video game came out. That was really what got me into DC. That was really what got me. And my Christmas that year was hundreds of dollars worth of Lego Batman, and I didn't even get every set that was out at the time. It was crazy. I got some of the rare ones and all that, and the little figures and everything, and I still have those things, and I hold them very dear to myself. The figures are over there, actually. I don't have the sets out, but the figures are over there. My favorite when I was younger, so I would say my favorite hero is Robin, then, because he was always my favorite in terms of, like, heroes and stuff. I really liked Robin a lot. I liked that he was the colorful, whimsical little sidekick to the big, dark, stoic Batman. I like 21 Pilots. I was introduced to them through the movie Suicide Squad, which, oh, that's funny. DC. And say what you want about that movie, because I kind of, yeah, I agree. You know, I feel a certain way too, but I do think it did still kind of kick ass. And, that song Heathens was in that, and then I was like, oh, that's cool, who are they? Wow, I want more of their music, and so I got into 21 Pilots. One Republic is part of my childhood a little bit too, and to me, I associate it a lot with Saints Row, and I associate One Republic with Saints Row and Lupin the Third specifically. There's a lot of things that, like, cross over with each other, like Dave Matthews makes me think of Lupin the Third, because I was playing with my Lupin Medicom, like, 1/6 figures and stuff with, like, Dave Matthews music playing in the background. I even have it recorded on VHS for the evidence, the proof that it happened. And another obscure game was for the PS3, and it was called The Last Guy, and it used top-down satellite imagery of, like, real cities as the map. And it's an apocalypse with aliens, and you're this heroic guy that is, like, the last person capable of saving humanity from these beings that are bringing out the apocalypse. So you're in places like Santa Fe, Tokyo, Japan. There's, like, crazy places that are, like, these satellite imagery maps. It was a very unique game, and so there's little power-ups where you can be invisible for a certain period of time, and you have this, it's kind of like Snake Ball, where you accumulate the people, the line gets longer, So they become more of a liability before you're taken to the drop-off safe zone, with it's safe from the alien creatures that are trying to take over the planet, and bring out the apocalypse. The longer the line, the more that one of those like alien creatures can come by and all of those from that point back are dead, and you lost a bunch of people. So it's a very, very interesting game. Starbenders is one that I found out about during the beginning of COVID, I believe. They had a song that I kept getting an ad for. It's called Push. And I kept seeing the ad for the video, and I finally had ended up, like, after seeing it for like a month or so straight, I finally went on YouTube and watched the video, and I've liked them ever since. Owl City is childhood of mine as well. Of course, Fireflies. I associate a lot with, like, because I got into that around the time that I got into Vocaloid. So I associate Owl City with Vocaloid, pretty much. I forget how I got into Owl City. It might have come up in the music recommendations or something like that at the time on the PS3 browser on YouTube. I like Puka. Never really got super into it, but I remember liking it around that same time. I like Puka a lot. It's very interesting. I like the little ninja-like characters and stuff. Anything with like ninjas in it. Not a big fan of not a fan of Naruto though, but usually I am into something that incentivizes pretty much more if there's ninja in it. Sly Cooper, big in my childhood. The very first one for the PS2. I love that one. That's my favorite in the entire game series. Is the first one. It just had a certain feeling to it. I just love it so much. It makes me so happy. I love Sly Cooper. Ragdoll Kung Fu, specifically the PS3 Ragdoll Kung Fu Fist of Plastic. That's specifically the one that I like. That shit made me crack up so much when I was a kid. I played it a lot. Still, never beat it. I've never beat it. Never beat it before. I've been into Austin Powers since I was a baby. That's a pretty weird one to like since you were a baby, but hey, he's funny, so I'll take it. Whatever. I don't care for him as a person. Again, not gonna debate you, but I really enjoy Quentin Tarantino's movies. My favorite is Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Nostalgic because of like the turning point of my life when I was 16, around the same year Rick and Morty, The Untoward, The Hateful Eight came out, and that's like a Christmas movie that I play every year. But definitely my favorite would be Kill Bill. Absolutely. The Fortnite collab was crazy. What in the world? What? It's so weird that happened. Like, what are you... Fortnite? The band Soul Coughing is also part of my childhood as well. Super Bon Bon and Circles. The most are like what I'm mostly familiar with, but I like Soul Coughing. I also like the band Phoenix. I was introduced to them through Little Big Planet. The song Listomania. And me and Vash bonded over Phoenix's music for quite some time. I think I only know one album as of right now. I'm kind of exposing that I should discography dive a lot more. I love discography diving so much. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's like going in and going, I like this person's songs. What's the rest of their catalog sound like? And then like finding these hidden gems that like no other people really listen to that much. Like one of their videos that only has like 57 views on it or something. And like their singles have like thousands and thousands, and it's just like, whoa, nobody's listening to this one. And it's really cool. I believe that my favorite is Lasso. My favorite song by Phoenix at the moment. I love Pixel Junk, but specifically Pixel Junk Eden. I played that a lot back in the early PS3 days. I played that a lot. And it's very interesting. Very hard. I've never beat it. I've never been able to beat it, but I try. And then along with that comes another obscure kind of PS3 era game called Echochrome, which uses visual illusions to solve puzzles. Very mind-bucking game, to be honest. Patapon, I like its premise, kinda. Not super into beat games, where like you press the buttons on cue and stuff. Not super into that, but I like the lore and premise of Patapon, so I am relatively a fan. I also like Lil Nas X. I found out about Lil Nas X probably a similar way that a lot of people did until he did Call Me By Your Name, which was, there was this meme of this kid, I forget his name, but he was like yodel singing in like Walmart, and he became like popular as a meme, and then all of a sudden this guy I'd never heard of before named Lil Nas X like reaches out to him like, hey, I want to put you on my song. And then, you know, that took a while to get that to happen. I think it took maybe a few months after he said it, but that was, I believe, that was how I found out about Lil Nas X. I was like, what song does he want this kid to be on? And I'm like, oh, this is funny. And I was like stemming like the words to that song for months. The Old Town Road. And like I made this edit that's the ultimate remix of like all the different features that are on it and shit. But I can't post it because it copyright strikes. Big fan of Sonic Youth. Not much to say about that one. It's more of a if you know, you know. But it's a band. Very obscure. I had this little weird phase where I was like digging into like obscure music that like nobody was watching on YouTube. And I ran into an artist named Complex Ricky, and she has very interesting soulful music, and I just felt drawn to her music and everything. I've even talked to her before on Instagram many years ago, and she's very interesting and very unique, very heartful. I can't think of any artists to compare her to. But she has a very sweet voice, and she's very sweet, and the words and lyrics and everything, but she's very obscure, and I don't know anyone else that knows her, so, this was a short season of a doll line, and it was off the coattail of Monster High right before they did Gen 3, and it was called Wild Hearts Crew, and they are like these human girls that are fans of various schools and Mansters that go to Monster High. And I got the whole collection when they came out. I got them one by one and got the whole set, so I actually have a complete set. And they said they were going to make a wave 2, they were going to introduce more people, they were going to introduce guys, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared. And nothing ever came of it ever again, and I was just kind of heartbroken because I really liked them a lot. And it seemed like every girl that there was in the Wild Hearts crew, you could tell by their fashion and their personality who their favorite ghouls and monsters were. And I felt really sad that they canceled that. Another line that's not mentioned in here is I'm a big fan of Novi Stars, and I only ever had one that was gifted to me when I was 14 by a friend of mine I had at the time. But I always wanted to collect the entire line of Novi Stars. Not like the beach ones or anything, but like their normal outfits. I always wanted all of them, but now that's virtually impossible unless I become rich, because they each are like hundreds of dollars a piece, and I got necessity things to focus on first, not that. But I love Novi Stars. My favorite Novi Star, I should say my favorite Wild Hearts crew. I think her name was Kendall. So the one, she's obsessed with aliens and she does photography and stuff. She's my favorite. I think her name was Kendall. It was a K name. I'm gonna feel so stupid if it's not, but she's got the black and blue hair. She's the Asian one. Incentivization of me liking something is if they are Asian, if they have some duality of self, or if it's twins, if there's some type of Asian, if there's some type of witch, stuff like that. If they're autistic, that's another one as well, because I automatically relate to them and then I realize, wait, they're autistic. Of course I would be drawn to them. Another short-lived line was capsule chicks, and I never got any of them, but I always really liked them. That's all I can say about that. I really liked them. I wish they would have been a thing longer. Maybe made some bigger ones. Maybe they would have survived longer if they were like 12-inch dolls or something. Maybe that would have been a lot. Because it reminds me of Monster High's Create a Monsters and the Bratzilla's Switch-a-Witch thing. Yeah, Capsule Chicks would have been a really big hit if they were full-size dolls instead of little figures. But the figures are cute too. Maroon 5, I'm a fan. Since I heard this song, Move Like Jagger. Because I had heard, there was somebody who did a Chobits AMV a long time ago with the song She Will Be Loved, and I wasn't a fan at the time. I wasn't a fan until I heard Moves Like Jagger. There's an obscure game that was on the Xbox Arcade, just like Cloning Clyde. And there's another one too that's not on this list. But this game was called Braid, and it might have originally been a computer flash game, I'm not sure. I know this next one is. But, basically, it was a side-scroll puzzle, and this guy, and you could solve the puzzles by rewinding time. I thought that was really cool and like spiritually symbolic, because I love spiritual symbolism. Basically warping time to get through the puzzles. There's another obscure game that was on the Xbox Arcade on the 360 called Alien Hominid, and it was originally a Newgrounds computer flash game, and I never played it at that time. I played the demo initially on an Xbox demo disc, I believe, and that shit had me in a chokehold. I was obsessed with Alien Hominid for a second. Never beat the game because it's hard. Some of these get so hard, I'm like, I'll get to it someday. When I'm old and in a nursing home, I'll be like, finally I beat Alien Hominid! Time for Snake Ball! Like, hey, it gives me something to do when I'm old. And the final one on the list before I circle back up to my top favorites that I want to elaborate more before I wrap this up is Rumble Roses. And I'm not a wrestling fan. I'm not really a wrestling fan, but I was really drawn to it for some reason on an Xbox 360 demo disc. And you could do like photo shoots and posing, dress them in different outfits. It's kind of like Dead or Alive, but a little bit more of the wrestling aspects. And the one on the PS2 has a storyline, but my introduction was the second game that didn't have a storyline. It was just the fighting. And my favorite is Benny Kage. Of course, the ninja, because why not? But I don't have a whole lot to say about it. But I am a fan of Rumble Roses. And so I'm going to circle back up to the top. Monster High, I did say that I like all three generations. My favorite ghoul is hard to pin down because it kind of changes. But I'll name some of them. Frankie Stein, Laguna Blue, Caddy Noir, Serena Von Boo, Bonina Femur. Who else? EC Dawn Dancer, Batsy Claro. I like everybody. I really do. I like them all, but like those are some of my favorites. Twyla Boogeyman, Venus McFlytrap is another one. So it's ones like that. The ones that are like that. The ones that have this whimsy, they have this spirituality, like kind of aspect to them and stuff like that. Like, but I see myself in all of the ghouls and monsters, to be honest. I see little bits and splices of my personality aspects reflected in every single one of them. My favorite monster has always been Holt Hyde, to the point where I was being bullied and harassed by the fandom when I was a child by literal adults that got exposed as child predators later on for being obsessed with Holt. Like, how dare you like Holt? I was getting death threats on Tumblr back in the day when I was like 13 by like 20-some-year-olds. Yeah, that was a real hoot. But no, my favorite will always be Holt. And yeah, I was pretty cringe with it sometimes, but hey, to be cringe is to be free, and I don't regret any of it. So, but yeah, he's my favorite. But, so we're going in backwards order up to the top. Of, like, the very top. Tenchu has been in my life since I was going to be turning 4. And it was on a PS2 demo disc. It was the demo disc, and I did a review of this demo actually on my channel some years back. The differences between the demo and the final game, I pointed out. I did like a playthrough on emulator, and it was really screwy. I'd like to just, I'm gonna do a do-over at some point, and I'm gonna verbalize while I'm doing it. Maybe I'll live stream that. Ooh, that's a good idea. Ooh, nice. I think I should take advantage of streaming more on my Twitch, which is also DeemingAmbition. That's where this was actually originally being recorded from. I don't have any phone space, so I'm just streaming my videos instead. Like, recording it as a stream and then just exporting it to YouTube. But it was the PS2 demo disc that the highlight was Zone of the Ender's second runner. That was the highlight on the demo disc, and I do own the demo disc, which is how I was able to do my comparison thing. Well, I mean, people download ISOs, but I own the disc. So I've been a fan ever since, and major crush on Ricky Maru for the longest fucking time. He had me in a major chokehold throughout my childhood, along with others. Me and Vash would bond a lot with that specifically. That one was insane. It got so major to the point where I posted so much about him that most of my Instagram posts are about him in terms of the past. Like, prior to 2019, like prior to moving to this apartment that I'm currently in, I mostly posted about Ricky Maru. Just like these weird pictures and angles where I was getting him to do different animations and stuff, like letting him get slashed at and hit and killed just so I could get different poses for art references and shit. And then I post those, and so people are like, what the hell? But it also got so major to the point where I got a custom one of 6 kind custom Ricky Maru 1/6 figure that it was basically like from my childhood dreams, honestly. However, it wasn't up to par like I wanted it to, so I customized it a little bit more to make it better. It's actually right there. But I got that for my birthday of 2019. And I hold Tenchu very dear to my heart, and I was most of my social media success came from Little Big Planet and Tenchu, to be honest. That was where most of my success was. I would say third to that would be my Monster High era. that's where I got most of my subscribers that are like no longer even active or anything. I have a lot of ghosts following me on my YouTube now, that were from my Monster High era where I was doing mostly doll videos. Katamari, again, through PS2 demos. It was the demo disc that had We Love Katamari on it. And I don't know what the highlights were on it. I'm not sure what the highlights were on it, but like what it was really like a big deal. Like Zona the Ender Second Runner was the big deal for the Tenchu one, but I don't remember what was the highlight on the We Love Katamari demo disc. But I was entranced by this. I'm like, do not show an autistic child Katamari, because that will become their entire personality until they're like 11 years old. And they will always go back to it. You will always be able to tell in their aesthetic and the way that they behave and dress that they are a Katamari fan. The king and his clothing, that, what's up with that, dude? He had me in a chokehold too, so I was being ping-ponged around with like Rikimaru and Lupin and the King of All Cosmos and who else? I know there was a few more. And then like Holt Hyde and Kaito, the Vocaloid, came on a little in later, and just, do I have a type? I don't know. Chi was ping-ponged in there. Chi from Chobits, she was ping-ponged in there a little bit too for a while. But yeah, very interesting selection lineup right there. And then Vash like tops the cake off because he was the most major thing. I just didn't tell anybody until I got older. Sky Children of the Light, I want to elaborate on that a little bit. I got into that during the peak of COVID, where so many people were socially isolated more than ever. Like, unprecedented. It was insane. And I had known about it since August, maybe? Or September of 2019, but it was an iOS exclusive at the time. And I'm not a iPhone user. So, basically, what happened was, like, I found out about it through an Invader Zim meme account on Instagram called Zimulation, and they would make funny Zim memes and stuff, and it was right around the time where the Enter the Florpus movie came out. That was supposed to be like, hey, after this we're gonna continue the series and stuff again, but it didn't happen. I think it was because of COVID. But it was when that came out, I was like on Instagram and like following people that were posting Zim stuff, and that was a favorite account of mine because their memes were really funny. But in their story they would post stuff about this game, and I'm like, what is that? What is that? But I didn't have the courage to ask them. I thought about it. I was like, what is that? That is so cool. And then a year later, when COVID was going on, it was a friend of mine that I had that I actually met through the Tenchu fandom. She posted some stuff in her story as well, and it's the same game again. And I'm like, I've been seeing this for a while. What is this game? She's like, oh, it's Sky Children of the Light. And I look it up and I'm like, it's iOS exclusive. How am I gonna play that? She's like, oh, in April they actually ported it, and it's released on Android. And I'm like, I'm downloading it right now. I'm doing this right now. And it's had me in a chokehold ever since. I've gotten every season pass except for Nesting. No. 9-Colored Deer, Nesting, Moomin, and Migration, I believe. That is the ones that I skipped out on. But I have every single season pass from Prophecy and forward. And I'm not a completionist, and I don't own every in-game, like, item. I haven't bought every in-app purchase, like, cosmetic item. There's a lot of stuff I don't want, and that's okay. But they did a personality thing event recently that I wish was actually a permanent feature so that people will always be able to figure out what their Sky personality type is. It's kind of like MBTI, but for Sky. I'm the healer type, which is not surprising at all. My MBTI is INFP, so I'm not surprised. That brings us to the final and most important special interest of mine that I have. And that, because I circled back to like the top ones, like my 1, 2, 3, 4, like my top 5. Monster High needs to actually be moved up there because I don't know why it's, but yeah, my top 6 then. So these are my top 6, and so at the tippy top of my top 6 is Saints Row, which is definitely actually the weirdest thing that I like, because of the context of which is unprecedented. I am Saints Row's biggest fan because I personally know the leader of the Saints because he is my spirit guide. That is the wackiest thing, and I barely touched upon it earlier. And I'm not going to touch upon it much more than that. But it's insane. I have a shrine for him, and it's right there. He has notes that he writes to me, and I have stuff up. I have his autograph filled up on a paper and all his colors and his color palette up on a piece of paper that he did for me, and he wears his own cosmetics that look like him in Sky when he plays Sky, because we share an account, and I have dedicated my life to this man because he makes me a better person. And my absolute, undeniably favorite person that has ever existed in the history of any reality ever. And since Monster High takes place in his reality of origin, I have a custom Monster High doll of him. I would eventually like to maybe redo him to make him look a little better, because hand sculpting that was hard. Hand sculpting his head was hard. But yeah, so eat it. Good enough. But yeah, he's my favorite special interest. He is the core of like most of my other special interests. Everything connects to him. All roads lead to Rome. For my special interest, all roads lead to Vash Elias Koroyumi, leader of the Saints. And left hand is me, right hand is him. So that's pretty much the main scope of things. And I don't really have a DNI. I don't really do that. Just like if you're an asshole piece of shit, just stay away from me. I don't need to specify. But yeah, I have a card website that is also in the description of this video as it is on YouTube, where I have places like my CashApp. My Venmo's not on there yet. I need to put my Venmo on there. I have an Amazon wish list. My Twitch is on there. My eBay, my Etsy, my Instagram, my art Instagram, because I have it separated into 2 accounts. My YouTube channel, my SoundCloud, my X account, my Tellonym, where you can send anonymous questions and stuff, and like engage in things anonymously if you're too shy to like reveal your identity while talking to me. You can send questions on there. My Tumblr, my DeviantArt. I don't really use most of those things. It's mostly Instagram Twitch is becoming more frequent for me. YouTube, that's mostly where you can find me. I do have a Discord, but I don't really use it that much other than keeping up with like game updates and stuff on Sky and stuff like that. It's not, I don't use it to message people personally. I just use it to keep up to date with like developers of like the Destination Home, PlayStation Home Revitalization Project, or the Little Big Planet Beacon, and places like that where it's like that's where they post. But it's basically my website that you can view and go to. There's more information about Vash in there that I don't want to go into describing at the moment. I already did it enough. My list of special interests, which looks like I need to update and add more. And some little gifts. Some little gifts of what I like. The people I like. It's the people. The people. There he is. But yeah, I'd like to have gifts of like all my different special interests there somehow, but there's not. And then a link to the information about me and Vash on Sky if you do play Sky and want to add us. And that's really it. But I wanted to take that time to really properly introduce myself, because I never really did. But now you know. That's who I am. That's what I represent. That's what I spend my life doing. And, you know, you don't have to understand, and you don't have to like it. If you can't respect it, take your ass somewhere else. If you do respect it, welcome to the club. And I hope that I can help make you laugh. I hope that I can help you through your life struggles. And just overall, you know, all I really want is, my goal is to make a profit in return and monetize my content and know that I'm helping people. So I don't desire really all that much. I'm a very simple person. I like to create. So that's basically the gist of me, as nutshelled as possible. And it is impossible for me to nutshell. The nutshell's it's still too much. But that's all for now, and maybe eventually I will redo an introduction video and whatnot as I get more honed in my content creation even more. But for now, I believe that this was good enough. So if you like what you hear, please subscribe if you haven't already. You can find me on Twitch and stuff like that. I try to stream when I'm not working and whatnot, and everything that I mentioned has the potential of showing up on my YouTube or my Instagram or my Twitch. And I draw all kinds of stuff. On my art Instagram, I have a bunch of Vashes, mostly Vash drawings. But if you scroll enough, you'll also see Tenchu and all that stuff. And I have way more to come. And I am very excited for what the future holds for me and the people that engage in my content. I want to do things like giveaways and do this in your styles and little challenges and little fun activities and stuff, but gotta amass more of a following first before I can do that. But that's basically the introduction of me, who I am, what I represent, what I like, and what kind of content you can see from me. So, and I do, he just did something really cute on the screen. I'm sorry, that threw me off. Okay. I'm gonna have to save that. This is what my life amounts to. He does something cute on the screen, I save a video clip of it. But I do also want to get into some ASMR. Like, I mean, people do all kinds of stuff. Like, I feel like I get into that because people say that it's nice and relaxing to listen to my voice. People always say my voice sounds really nice. That I should, like, read and narrate and I'm just like, wow, okay. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what kind of content I can end up making as time goes, but until then, what was that motto that I said earlier? Don't be square, don't be AI, and don't let yourself go.